Howdy! Welcome to the Whiskey Butler. I'm your host, Wesley Butler, here to serve you a little whiskey wisdom. I am very excited today. Been waiting for this for a long time. Here at Town Center Market in Riverdale, Maryland, with Ted Spiropoulos. We're going to talk barrel pick whiskey today. Yes, like we've been talking about this for months, you know. So I'm glad we finally were able to get a date on the calendar, put it together. So just going to jump right in and get started because I'm sure you guys can see our lovely set here, you know. But today we're going to start off with the barrel pick of Maker's 46. But before we get into the whiskey, you know I like to feed your minds first before I feed your palates. So, Ted, can you tell us a little bit about Town Center Market?
Sure, thanks. Thanks for coming today. We're happy to have you here. Like you said, it's been a while. We've been talking about it for a while. And just schedules, you know, and the challenges we've all been dealing with lately. It's been
pandemics.
But I'm glad we're able to make it work, and we're happy to have you here. So Town Center Market, we're located in Riverdale Park, 4705 Queensbury Road. You can find us online at towncentermarket.net. You can order online. We deliver within a 5-mile radius of the store. We have, I believe, some of the best pricing in the area, and you know, we're happy to have you guys come in and check out our whiskey, our great wine selection, and of course we're known for our craft beer selection and 34 rotating draft lines of craft beer that we pour on premise that you can enjoy pints of on our patio or inside or outside on nice days.
Cool. You know, the first time I came here, I was actually looking for a liquor store in the area. I was looking for some Spanish wine, and I found this place. I was like, I've never been here. So I came in looking for Spanish wine, and then I actually don't even know if I actually bought Spanish wine because I got distracted by the whiskey selection. The patio was a nice touch. Really liked the patio. So I haven't actually enjoyed the patio food and drink and so on and so forth, but I'm certainly going to get around. I always get distracted by the whiskey when I'm here, you know? So, okay.
It happens.
All right, so that's Town Center Market. So tell us how Ted got into whiskey. Not just selling whiskey, but how you got into whiskey.
Well, so I'm a little older than most. We've been at it, my brother and I have been at it since 1988. Not necessarily being a liquor store, but being more of a community market type of store.
Okay.
But we saw the upcoming challenges with all the explosion of development around here and these wonderful options as far as markets and supermarkets go and those types of things. So, you know, we decided to we were just a beer and wine store predominantly, and we decided to find a liquor license for us to, you know, carry spirits as well.
Okay.
So that was kind of prior to 2012, I was more of a casual whiskey guy. I never really got into, you know, these exotic whiskeys, or it was a very unknown market for me, you know, and an unknown area for me. And with guys like you and several other customers who come in, I kind of started learning about how great some of these whiskeys are, and the salesmen too. Obviously, they're trying to sell their stuff, but they're also introducing me to these wonderful spirits that I was able to kind of, you know, sort through and you know, start enjoying a little bit more. So, you know, it was a very customer involved evolution for me to enjoy better bourbon, I guess is the way to put it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does. So you sort of, I mean, that's how, I sell insurance on a day-to-day basis. I didn't grow up thinking I was going to sell insurance, but hey, it just happened. So what would you say was the first whiskey that you really started to enjoy?
Well, there's been many since then, but
but everybody remembers their first.
Yeah, that's true. I think Four Roses really struck a really positive note for me.
Okay.
You know, when I got into their single barrel stuff, it was really eye-opening and just kind of I craved more of that, you know, more of that type of bourbon and whiskey. So yeah, Four Roses.
Four Roses.
I give them credit.
You give four, okay. Well,
props.
Four Roses, if you're out there listening, it gives you credit for that. We'll save that for another episode. We can't put too much content in the same episode. All right. So we're in the whiskey now, and you know, you got customers coming in, you know, you got distributors coming in. So why did you decide to do a barrel pick whiskey?
Well, so just specifically a barrel pick
Just
whiskey?
specifically a barrel pick. Then what? Then I'm going to ask you, why'd you decide to go with Maker's Mark?
So, I guess barrel picks, the more you read about them and, talk about them, they're a unique presentation of their respective distillery. So
Sure.
they don't blend it, they don't cut it, depending if it's a, foolproof or cast strength, they'll cut, they'll put it back to a foolproof status if they're gonna present it that way. But you literally get a barrel of their stuff bottled for you.
Yep.
So that flavor, that taste will not be available anywhere else in the United States. And it's true. Whiskey isn't just like IPAs aren't IPAs, or beer's not beer. Every bottle is a little different, as you can attest to. And I think that's the beauty of whiskey in general. Opening that bottle and thinking that it's just gonna be another random Four Roses bottle, I guess, but when you get into it and taste it a little bit more, you get some of the complexity and the differences, especially with these single barrels.
Yeah. So then the next is, so you're basically saying, I want some exclusivity for Town Center Market. I want my people to come in here and say, hey, I got a barrel pick from Town Center Market and it was delicious. You guys should go check it out, which I tell people all the time after I come from here. So why did you decide, and this was the first barrel pick you ever did, right?
Yeah, Maker's was my first one.
First barrel pick. So you're dipping your toe in the water. Why did you decide to dip your toe in with Maker's?
Well, compared to where we are now in the industry as far as barrel picks go, I had very limited access to getting barrel picks at the time.
Okay.
That was just like in 19. So when Maker's approached us, I was very interested. We sold the product pretty well in the store. Admittedly, I'm not a big wheat whiskey fan, but the way they presented it to me was, they're basically the only distiller who allows you to deviate from what the standard presentation would be. They allowed you to build a flavor profile that you like to blend into their whiskey and call it your own. And I thought that was pretty unique.
Okay. So for those of you that don't know, Maker's 46, which we have right here, which we're drinking on right now. Maker's 46 it's considered a wheat whiskey, which basically means that the majority second grain is wheat after the corn, right? They take regular Maker's cast strength, right? So you got the regular Maker's Mark cast strength, and then they decided to they have 10 French oak staves,
right?
Just the staves, right? And they basically soak the French oak staves in the cast strength Maker's Mark, right? And they leave it in there for
9 weeks.
For 9 weeks, they leave it in there for 9 weeks
In their limestone caves.
in their limestone caves, all of which you can read about this on the website. But you're not going to the website, you're listening to it here. So we got 10 French oak staves in the barrel of cast strength Maker's Mark, 9 weeks, and bam, what comes out is Maker's 46. Now, very interesting enough, why do they call it Maker's 46 instead of like Maker's, finished wood staves or whatever? So to develop this flavor profile that you would normally get in Maker's 46, they went through 46 different trial and errors, right? And the one that they ended up liking was number 46. So they said, why don't we call it Maker's 46? So boom, we got Maker's 46. Now, so that's Maker's 46. Ted, you made your own flavor profile and they allowed you to deviate. So I'm assuming they gave you 10, you had 10 staves you could choose from, right?
Right. So they have a stave system of, it's 5 different staves I could choose from, but 10 staves in total that would be dipped into the barrel.
Okay.
So using that formula, you could come up with 1,000 different variations of a flavor profile.
For you math geeks out there, it's not actually 1,000 different, but we were exaggerating, but you get where we're going with that, okay?
There are a lot of choices. So, so it's a very unique experience, and it's, again, just like with the 46 discussion that you had, it's a lot of trial and error to get down to a flavor profile that worked. It's the same as the 46 concept, but they introduced so many different flavor staves to add to the barrel.
Camera guy, do you want some? Okay, so you got 5 different stave types that you could choose from.
Yeah,
right?
and I could balance them, or I could arrange them in a way that I preferred based on flavor profile. So they'd let me know a French cuvee would impart more vanilla and caramel,
Okay.
or American Pure would be a little sweeter. So I tended to sway more towards the bolder, brasher, in your face type with a long type of finish,
Okay.
and like a full mouth feel, a robust type of whiskey, which is not what a traditional Maker's Mark whiskey would taste like.
Definitely. So do you remember the staves or?
No, I mean, I don't remember. I had so much that day. It was hard to,
Yeah, what was the process like? So did you actually
was
get
a-
to go there to do
well,
it?
so no, I couldn't, and they set up a remote lab for us to blend our stuff with Maker's representatives from
Okay.
Loretto, Kentucky, there on the premises.
Okay, okay.
To help us through the process.
You drank a lot of Makers that day, didn't you?
We did. We did. We drank a lot of Makers. It was fun, needless to say. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for those of you out there, so our 10 finishing staves are, we have 1 baked American Pure number 2. What's the difference? Well, I mean, I don't know why they call it Pure number 2, but whatever. You have 4 seared French cuvee, 2 of the Maker's 46. So that's 2 of the ones that they use in the normal Maker's 46. 2 roasted French mocha. Sounds very coffee-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1 toasted French spice. There's a lot of French in here.
There is.
There's a lot of French in here.
I didn't think I'd go French, but the more I blended everything, the more it was swaying me towards like those French stave profiles.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, here, cheers.
Cheers,
Here's
yeah.
your Maker's 46.
Enjoy.
So, I mean, so right off, right? I mean, so this Maker's definitely has that wheat whiskey, smooth, maybe. But I mean, this one right here, you said you were going for something that was in your face, and this is definitely more in your face than the normal. But it's, so I'm like you. I'm not that I don't particularly care for wheat whiskeys, but for some reason I just never particularly cared for Maker's Mark, you know?
Sure.
And but this is one of those what's the proof on this?
108.
So this is 108 proof, whereas the normal comes in at 94. So yours is definitely less watered down than the normal. So that in itself is going to add a little extra kick to it.
Sure.
But so what would you say the seared French cuvee and the roasted, like what did it really, the French spice clearly.
It definitely added more spice.
Right.
I think it added a little more of a oakiness to it that Maker's 46 was missing, or regular Maker's is missing. And it just the mouthfeel tastes different to me as well. I mean, obviously the proof is a little higher, which is going to impact that a little bit, but it's just a richer, fuller taste all the way around, in my opinion.
I would agree. Maker's 46 is, you're having a party and there's a lot of people that aren't really whiskey drinkers there. Like, I feel like they could get into this, 94 proof. You probably don't need to add any water to it, I know some people like to, but this is, if you're having a party and you really want to impress some people, right? Give them this, and it's like, oh, hey, step up your game a little bit.
And you can that mocha kind of settles on the back end. And gives
you can smell the mocha in this too.
Yeah.
So this was your first barrel pick. How did it go? Like how did it sell?
Not great. It did okay. But again, you basically hit the nail on the head that everyone's coming in with this predetermined notion of what Maker's is supposed to taste like.
Sure.
But this is far from your standard Maker's kind of flavor profile. And that's what they emphasized when we were doing this, and that's what I emphasized to my customers.
You should listen to this.
I'm always kind of, if a customer's curious about it, as you well know, I'll always give them a pour to let them try before they commit to it. So if anyone's interested, I'm more than happy to share some of the whiskey before they dive into that purchase.
So I will say you are good about that, right? And the first time I had your barrel pick of Maker's, is the day I asked you if we could do these, right? And I think you were testing me out because you're like, you know what? I got some barrel picks here.
I'm not too sure about this guy.
Is this guy, is he a charlatan? So you gave me 3 samples of your barrel picks, right? And not to ruin future episodes, but this was number 1, and we had a couple others. So it was this, there was a Woodford, and there was a Four Roses, right? And so, like I said, I had a preconceived notion of what Makers was all about. And so you were like, okay, well, here's these 3, and I'm not going to tell you which is which, and I want you to try them, and then I want you to tell me which is which. And we're literally standing in the store, and I'm like, do you want me to do it now? And you're like, I mean, if you got time. And I said, well, it's Saturday afternoon. I got nothing else going on. So we pour all 3, and I just remember the first one that I drank, and I thought, oh, I know what this is, right? I was like, I got it, but I'm just going to wait till the end. And then I tasted the second one, and I thought, oh, I thought I knew what the first one was, but I like the second one better. And I was thinking, but this one is, and so then I tasted the third one, which of course I like the third one. And so, I got them all right. I got them all right. Anybody that saw an earlier episode,
I will attest to that.
I got them all right. And basically what it was is I tasted the first one and I liked it. So I was like, oh, that must be the Woodford, right? And then I tasted the second one and I liked it better than the first one. I thought, well, wait a minute. If that was the Woodford, but I like it. This one can't be the Makers because I actually like it and I don't normally like Makers. And then I tasted the last one and it was like traditional Four Roses, right? So that one was easy. And so, yeah, I actually ended up liking your Barrel Pick 46 better than your Barrel Pick Woodford, which was still good, but it just surprised me that I liked Makers over Woodford. It was good stuff. So, we still got some Town Center Market Barrel Pick Makers here. Come pick it up. My man Ted is, so do you think once you get rid of, so you still have inventory, do you think you do another Makers?
Maybe. We'll see. I got a lot on deck. And I guess I would have to check lead time and things like that, but I have other barrel picks coming from the Jim Beam Makers family. So that'll be in the queue at some point again, but maybe a year from now or so.
So was there a number 2 combination that you really liked after this one?
I was waffling between adding more 46 staves instead of French Cuvée.
Okay.
And I was kind of working out that 4 and 2 kind of blend.
Yeah.
Everything else was kind of dialed in for me. But the Makers rep who was there, he goes, if you really like that flavor profile, just go with it. Go heavier that way. This is what it's about. It's your expression of Makers, and that's the beauty of what they do and what I liked about it. So
yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I like it. You like it.
That's delicious.
Everyone out there that tastes it's gonna like it. More people are gonna. Cameraman likes it. So I want to thank you for watching this episode of the Whiskey Baller. I want to thank Ted for having us here so we could do this episode. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, click the bell when you subscribe. All those things that I normally say. I don't have any merch, but I'm thinking about merch. We're gonna get merch someday in the future. Thanks for watching the Whiskey Baller, and we're out.